What parent would want to let go of a child? If there's even 1,000,000 to 1 chance that a miracle could come, who wouldn't hold on and fight until the end? This has been the heartbreaking reality in living hell for the parents of Archie Battersbee as they fight their son's doctors in court over whether his life support machine should be turned off. Well, I'm now joined by Archie's mother, Holly Dance, and sister-in-law, Ellie Carter. Holly, let's start tell us about Archie and tell us about that fateful day and what happened.
Archie's a very bubbly, active little boy, very talented. He's a gymnast at South Essex Gymnastics. He's an MMA fighter. He had his first fight coming up. Great personality, really high-spirited, just an absolute joker, storyteller. He's just a really funny child. The day in question, we'd been out, and we'd come in, and he brought in his swim bag. What he said to me was sweets in the bedroom. I'd gone up to charge my phone. He brought this bag in and said, "I've got you some sweets," and I just laughed and said, "No, you haven't, you've got the rabbit in the bag." Then the rabbit poked his head out, and we both just started laughing and giggling. And then I told him, obviously, to take the rabbit downstairs, and I've left the room after a couple of minutes, just to check, really, that he'd taken the rabbit downstairs, and, well, not a couple of minutes, like a few minutes. I'd had a phone call and just potted around, really, come out of the bedroom, and I noticed he wasn't in his room after calling him. Then noticed the rabbit at the top of the stairs, and very quickly noticed Archie the other side of the banister with something around his neck.
What was your first thought when you saw that? How did you respond to that?
I just ran to him, shouted, "Archie." His lips had drained of colour a bit. Weren't purple, but they're drained of colour. He was warm. Part of me actually thought he was still, that he was joking. Tried to get it off. It was under his chin and around the back of his neck. Tried to get it off of him. So I'm lifting with one arm, trying to pull the thing over his head. Couldn't do it. So I've moved it forward, run out the house, screaming for help. There was nobody there. Run straight back upstairs. Ended up snapping it, and when I snapped it, it became like a dead weight, really, and fell to the bottom of the hallway. I've then run outside again, help, screaming for help. The door was open, screaming for help. My neighbour walked around the corner, and I immediately started performing CPR on Archie. He did breathe. Breath come out of his mouth, the sound of breath come out of his mouth. I carried on. My next door neighbour was on the phone, 999 call. He was on the phone. And I just carried on the CPR, and then Joe took over. And then the ambulance arrived.
So the ambulance comes, Archie gets taken to hospital.
Yeah, Southend Hospital.
And not long after, he's then transferred, isn't he?
No, it's quite a while after.
About 3 hours, I think it took. They sent a team from the Royal London to pick him up and then bring him back to the Royal London.
I think we got to the Royal London at midnight, so it was actually quite some hours.
And up until this point, what sort of things have the doctors been telling you?
It was quite positive at first. The CT scan showed blood flow, and his eyes were reactive, and they were sort of discussing the possibility of an operation, a decompressive craniotomy, and then it all just kind of.
And he was making attempts. He was breathing on his own. They put him into neuroprotection to prevent any further, brain activity causing obviously damage. And then I got to the Royal London, and she come in within about 10 minutes and said he's probably not going to survive, which obviously I don't really understand why Southend would send him there to die. It just didn't make any sense, really. And I don't believe Southend did send him there for that reason.
So Archie was put on life support.
Yes.
He's been on for 5 weeks now. And
8 weeks.
8 weeks. And they are now saying that it's time that he was taken off life support, that he doesn't have chances. And you have strong conviction that that is not the case.
Yes. I don't believe it's long enough. It's like 8 weeks. It's a brain injury. I've been talking to nurses, like recently with like COVID patients that have been on life support for like 3 months, 6 months at a time. Like they're put onto a ventilator and put into an induced coma. You know, this is a little boy with a brain injury. Why is he only getting this short amount of time?
And you have had backing from other doctors who have said they disagree with that verdict. They disagree that there is no hope.
A doctor from the USA, he gave evidence in court.
Yeah, he testified to say that...
He's got like a 37-page CV.
Very impressive. He said that there was a case in Canada of a girl in a very similar position who... Because they've depicted Archie as deteriorating, and that's just simply not the case. And similarly with this girl in Canada, they said that she was deteriorating and it was a sign of brain death, and they moved her to a different hospital where there was a religious exemption law, and it turned out she was just severely malnourished, and all of that deterioration was reversed, and she started responding to commands, which Archie's been taken off of feed for sometimes a week at a time.
Right.
And so he's not getting his nutrition.
Yeah.
So you have the support of a doctor from America who is helping you, backing you up. What other support do you have? What other support do you need?
Any hospital over here would be brilliant, amazing, that would possibly take Archie and just give him time. You know, without this hospital's very rushed to end it and get him off the ventilator. You know, there's been no time for healing or recovery.
We've got a petition out there as well that if everyone could sign and share would just make the world of difference. We've got a GoFundMe page for medical treatment because unfortunately it's unlikely that the NHS are going to be willing to take Archie. So if there's a single hospital in the entire world that would even give Archie a chance, then we're willing to take that chance.
We'd like to take it.
Yeah, we're just begging people to help get the word out there and spread the message, really.
As a mother, there's no parent in the world would give up, and you just want more time.
Definitely, I want more time.
I mean, just finally, there's been a circulated video that you've taken of Archie gripping onto your hand.
I've got loads of those videos now. I think the one that maybe Ella sent you is Archie holding the 3 fingers. I've got one of him squeezing 2, where you can see my fingers are bright red and his knuckles are white, where he's squeezing. It's clearly not a reflex. And I'm shaking my hand very, very vigorously on that one, and he's still holding on.
I don't know what to say. Holly, Ella, it's an incredible battle that you're fighting. The nation's hearts are with you, I'm sure, and I really hope someone watching today can answer your call for help.
Thank you.
It's an extremely moving story. Well, we have got a statement from Barts Health NHS Trust. Their spokesperson said, "This is an incredibly sad case, and our thoughts and sympathies are with Archie's family at this time. We await the court's decision."